we're going to bring up Sherman Whites. Sherman is the Director of Education for the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation, and he is going to share why investing in humanity is the most impactful investment strategy. So let's welcome Sherman to the stage.
Caring for each other means investing in humanity. So I'm making my routine morning drive, and as I approach a traffic signal, a familiar voice from the back seat inquires, "Daddy, are we going to help the homeless man on the corner?" I didn't roll my window down like I typically do. "No, baby girl, not this time." She probes. "Why do we help some homeless people but not others? How do you decide?" I would ponder that question for the remainder of the day. See, philanthropy is my day job, but on the way to my daughter's school, I was faced with a question that so many of us are faced with every day. This decision tree in our head, that is the criteria for how you give or why you give or not. Technically, philanthropy is giving to the homeless man on the corner, promoting the welfare of others through charitable giving. So why don't more of us do it? It comes with a little bit of risk, right? And more importantly, the impact is unknown. Essentially, my daughter was asking the very same question that we are interrogating here today. How do we answer the call to care for one another? I'd like to propose a shift in our thinking as we explore ways to collectively impact the world around us with our time, talent, and treasure. Rather than seeking out philanthropy to remedy the ills of society, I propose that we seek out and consider ourselves investors. See, philanthropy implies charity, which presents an inherent power dynamic and yields limited outcomes. Investing implies the infusion of resources into an asset. And by definition, an asset is something you value. How do we know when we value something? When we discover something of value, we want to cultivate it. We want to infuse in it the resources necessary to get a proper return on investment. The asset of greatest importance is the people. Raw talent and energy that can be shifted from potential to kinetic. In philanthropy, we provide resources to people, usually with favorable pedigrees, visionaries like you, who have strong resumes and demonstrate a passion for action. As investors, however, we should be seeking out leaders who are most proximate to the issues we are seeking to address. Leaders with the level of lived experience that they can draw on during the design of potential solutions. In Kansas City, we invest in leaders like Edgar Palacios, who's developing a pipeline of Latinx educators to ensure that teachers are more representative of the students they serve. Investing in people as assets will also force us to take seriously the social entrepreneurs who are not necessarily looking to scale something by 10x, rather simply looking to have transformative impact in the communities they serve. Deidre Anderson runs an early childhood center that integrates STEM programming, art therapy, and wraparound supports for parents. She's not worried about scale just yet. She's focusing on the parents that she currently serves to ensure that their children are having the best educational experience possible. Lastly, investing in people as assets will help us cultivate authentically engaged leaders who can help us advocate for systems-level change in our communities. Reverend Darren Edwards is part of a fellowship program where faith and civic leaders come together once per month to discuss issues related to education reform. Reverend Edwards is already a leader in his community. The fellowship program, hosted by the Kauffman Foundation, provides him with tools and resources to help him elevate his voice, as well as become a stronger advocate for quality education in our region. See, we best care for people when we help to build them up. How can you and I, with our experiences and skill sets, help to build capacity of high potential leaders that represent neighborhoods in need? Many of these leaders are challenged with a variety of operational challenges related to strategy, fundraising, governance, financial management. What if, instead of us going out creating new entities and then hiring those indigenous leaders to come work for us, what if we took our skills and experiences and invested in those leaders and helped them to build up their own organizations? After all, investing in leaders who are not proximate to problems you're seeking to address, it comes with a bit of risk, right? And more importantly, we've studied the impact, and we know that it is limited. My daughter and I, we still occasionally see the man at the traffic signal. And no, this is not the part where I tell you I've invested in him to start an organization to eradicate homelessness. This is the part where I tell you that as an investor, I've humbled myself to see that man as more than a subject to be studied, more than a performance metric. I've shifted the way I view him, which empowers him and his lived experience. A wise person once said, "We need leaders who are not in love with money, but who are in love with justice." We need leaders who are not in love with publicity, but who are in love with humanity. Rather than asking yourself, what can I create? Consider asking yourselves, who can I invest in? Thank you.